Hello, I'm Amara Jones, and today is Wednesday, April 29th. This is Caffeine TV, your daily news brief, here to take you through 3 headline numbers in just 3 minutes, giving you a different take on everything from housing policy to the Real Housewives. The first number today is 10, as in 10 p.m. That's the official state of emergency curfew for the city of Baltimore. And according to the Baltimore Sun, there were less than 100 people on the streets last night after the curfew, out of a city of 600,000, and only a handful of arrests, perhaps signaling calmer days ahead for Charm City. Now, yesterday began with thousands of Baltimore residents flooding the streets at daybreak in order to clean up the mess from the night before. They did so unprompted by the government and, in fact, beating official cleanup crews from the city by hours. Those helping out in the cleanup include those labeled thugs, such as gang members, by everyone from the President of the United States on down. Now, the president made those remarks in the Rose Garden, standing next to the Prime Minister of Japan, and after the perfunctory denunciation of the riots, said that the country had some hard thinking to do about the decades-long practices that had created the situation in Baltimore, and said that we could no longer, quote, pay attention to these communities when a CVS burns, close quote. And I was wondering whether or not he was speaking as much about his next year and a half in office as the country as a whole. But if Martin Luther King Jr. was indeed correct that riots are the language of the unheard, the fact that the President of the United States was standing at the White House yesterday talking about the problems in West Baltimore shows that they're unheard no more. The next number today is 3,000, as in 3,000 years ago. Now, that's the golden age of ancient Greece, and it took center stage in the Supreme Court's deliberations yesterday on the future of gay marriage in the United States. Now, clearly you're wondering why. It's because a number of justices asked about the attitudes towards marriage from ancient times to the present, with Justice Alito wondering and questioning about the philosophical underpinnings and practices towards homosexuality in ancient Greece, to which Justice Breyer responded a little later that, well, we no longer continue to do things just because we've always done them. That's why we have laws and courts. And Justice Ginsburg, RBG, echoed the point a little later when she said that women no longer are the property of men in law as they had been from ancient times until the 1980s. And she's right, of course. Women no longer have to eat ash and beat themselves when they lose a family member as they did in ancient Greece. Now, yesterday, the court ostensibly was focused on 2 questions, the first being whether or not gay marriages were subject to the Equal Protection Clause in the Constitution, and the second is whether or not states that don't recognize gay marriages have to recognize those marriages performed in states where they are legal. And in true form, the justices argued amongst themselves, all sides, and we'll just have to wait until June to see what they decide. The last number today is 10 billion, as in $10 billion, according to the Wall Street Journal. That's the annual budget for the NFL. And yesterday, the head of the NFL, Roger Goodell, said the NFL would no longer apply for tax-exempt status and begin to pay taxes. Now, in all fairness, each of the teams and all of the players have paid taxes. It was just the front office that didn't, but that tax-exempt status had come under fire from Congress recently due to the string of disasters inside of the NFL, everything from concussions to Ray Rice to Adrian Peterson. And yesterday, Roger Goodell said that by ending their tax-exempt status, he was removing, quote, a distraction, close quote. But in 2007, Major League Baseball also ended their tax-exempt status, but they did so in order to begin to pay their executives whatever they wanted, the ability to raise their salaries sky high, and it all be done in the dark. So in the end, the NFL could come out ahead.